Apparently, Plasma has not transitioned to the 2 releases per year model just yet, because this is the 3rd version that we're getting this year. We got Plasma 6, Plasma 6.1, and it's now Plasma 6.2. And it's not a huge release in terms of the number of features or in terms of how big these features are, but it's still an important one on the road to polish and finishing things up so they can move to the 2 releases per year cycle. So we're gonna check out everything that's new in 6.2, and we're gonna look at this message from our sponsor. This video is sponsored by Proton Mail, your encrypted and private suite of online tools to handle your email, calendar, online storage, VPN, and password manager needs. Not only is everything you store there safe from prying eyes because it's end-to-end and zero-access encrypted, meaning not even Proton employees can access your data, but they're also currently running a campaign to help you de-Google your life. This is a topic I've talked about at length on the channel, and if you want to start leaving less personal data behind in the hands of Google or other big tech companies, Proton is currently one of the best choices. They have all the tools you need with one single account, so you don't have to find a replacement for each and every one of the services Google offers. You have all the core online tools in one place, and you know they're not only private, but also safe from surveillance, thanks to Proton's strong encryption. And right now they offer you Proton Unlimited, their highest tier, for a single $US or euro for the first month, instead of $12.99. So you can experience the full feature set of Proton VPN, Proton Mail, Proton Pass, and you also get 500 gigs of online storage. So just click the link in the description below to get started with Proton Unlimited for just $1 or €1. Okay, so first let's begin with what is visual, what you will see when using KDE Plasma 6. The first thing is that accent colors now apply properly to Plasma themes. Previously, if you switched to Breeze Dark or Breeze Twilight, you could notice that your color was not applied on the Plasma panels or on the menu. Now, this is the case, so whatever thing you choose to use, you will get these colors not only in KDE applications, but you'll also get them inside of the Plasma elements and widgets and panels just as well. The second thing you can notice is the expanded system tray and status icons for KDE Plasma. Those were previously pretty gigantic, you can see them right there. They were pretty freaking huge and not necessarily the best layout here. In the new version, you get a more refined layout, which I think makes it easier to navigate. You have smaller elements, they are more readable. I think it's a good change all around. Now, another thing that only new KDE users will notice when installing a new distro or switching to KDE is the Welcome Center. It's now much better explained what the features are, like you can actually interact with it, you can hover over elements to learn more about how the desktop works. You have like more interactive elements, you've got a more detailed explanation of the various features that are listed over there. They actually move, you have videos. It's pretty nice. It's a better way of seeing what's happening in KDE when you try it for the first time. Of course, long-time Plasma users will likely not care about this because they already know everything there is to know. Although, knowing everything there is to know about KDE is no small feat. It has a lot of features everywhere. Another important change is how you can drag Plasma windows. Previously, you could just grab from any empty space and move the window around. For example, like so. This is on KDE 6.1. And you can just grab the window from this empty space, or you can grab it from here, or you can grab it from the tab bar, or you can grab it from between icons. In 6.2, they reduced the amount of grabbiness just to avoid having like misclicks or dragging stuff around that you don't wanna. So you can only click in actual toolbar and header areas, but you cannot grab the status bar, the tab bars and stuff like that, just to avoid dragging things where you don't want them to be. Now, if you use the Plasma clipboard, you might have noticed that this interface was not the same as the interface you could summon when pressing Super plus V. Now, it's basically the same kind of interface. You got the same search bar, the same thing. So wherever you are, if you press Super plus V, you've got the same kind of pop-up showing up everything that you copied in your clipboard compared to what you had previously, which used to look like this. And so yeah, it was not as detailed and as nice. So the new interface really much better here. The Open With dialog that you get when you right-click on a file and select the application you want is now the same for every type of file, for every kind of application, no matter how it's packaged. You now have this same interface everywhere where you can pick the application, you can show all the installed apps or just the ones that can open the file type, and you can decide to run them in the terminal or not. It's a good interface, and it's nice to see it being placed everywhere inside of Plasma. So, the release notes also say that KDE improved the Widget Explorer interface, which I would assume is this. I can't say I see many changes here, maybe apart from the fact that everything that you installed recently will appear first in the list with a little new icon, just to let you know that this is brand new, this has just been added, and so it's way easier once you add a new widget using the Get New thing over here. Once you add something there, it's much easier to find it back again and to drag it to any space that you want on your desktop. So props to KDE, it looks good, it's nice. Now in the Pager widget, which is the one that lets you switch from one virtual desktop to the other, you also now have the option to decide to not show the outlines, show application icons on window outlines or show window outlines. You can disable that, which means you only see your desktop, but you don't see what window is where, which, I mean, why would you want that? But if you do, you can have that. The Minimize All button, that is basically right there at the bottom, also now only minimizes the windows on the current desktop that you're using and the current activity. It doesn't minimize everything everywhere on all desktops, which is probably what people want when they click on this thing. You also have some small quality of life improvements. For example, if you set your user's avatar, you now have the ability to crop it, so you can decide which portion of the image you actually want to keep and which one you're not interested in, which isn't bad. That's a cool thing to have. The weather widget also received a few changes. You now have night forecasts if you want them when you're located in North America. You also can have the feels like temperatures, which I don't see displayed here, but basically tells you, hey, it's 20 degrees Celsius, but it feels like 25 because the sun is boiling hot today. And it only will default to information poor, so providers that don't have that much data to give you, as a fallback if nothing else works and if no other provider is available for your location. So, like I said at the beginning, not that much new in the visual or UX department, but it doesn't mean that it stops there. There's still a lot to explore in 6.2, notably in terms of accessibility. First, sticky keys support is now fully baked under Wayland, which means that now you can have like Control, Shift, Alt or the Meta super key to act like once you press it, it is held down all the time and you have to repress it to let it go, which is very useful if you have a hard time pressing keyboard shortcuts. So now you can enable that for the entire Wayland session and it should work properly everywhere. You'll also notice that there's a little bit more information about what accessibility features do. This is for 6.2 and this is in 6.1. So you see there are little descriptors here and there telling you what the things will actually do. Notably those little info buttons that will tell you what's happening if you enable or disable certain features, which obviously is better for accessibility. Not all elements have this, but some have, and that's better just to know what this thing is gonna do. Another thing that is brand new that you'll notice is the color blindness correction filters, which you can see here. They are now part of the accessibility settings page, I guess, and you can now enable these and select what kind of color blindness you have and try to set things up so it helps you see these colors and change the colors of the Plasma desktop in a way that is more legible to you. So accessibility is always something that is ongoing work. You have to completely refine your desktop to make sure that everyone can use it. The work never really ends, but this is a good step. You have more explanations and you have more elements for accessibility. What is also improved in 6.2 is all the power management features. So first, if you have multiple monitors, you have a per monitor brightness setting. Here, of course, I only have one, but if you have multiples, you'll get multiple sliders. So you can have, for example, your internal laptop screen very bright and an external monitor way dimmer because it's bigger and more in your face, or the opposite. You decide, you can change how things go here. You'll also see that the power management little icon or the battery icon will now display a power profile icon instead if you need to, so it's gonna have a badge to let you know which power profile is currently enabled. And that battery monitor widget will stay visible while the computer is charging at all times, just to see where your battery's charge is at. Now, still in the power management department, on Plasma, some applications were able to block sleep and screen locking. For example, a web browser playing a video, or maybe Steam being open in the background or playing a game. This was pretty annoying because it meant if you had one of these apps open somewhere and you decided to lock your computer or to just shut down your laptop to close the lid, well, you couldn't really have that experience because it just wouldn't go to sleep. So now you can block specific applications every time for this application, and you can say, okay, no, you never have the right to block anything, and you go away. Of course, you can see it's still the beta, but there's a visual problem here, but this is probably going to be fixed at some point. So these are pretty nice quality of life improvements for power management. You can also press the super key and B to cycle between power profiles, but of course you can change that keyboard shortcut to anything you want because it is Plasma. But it's good to see that you can actually prevent certain applications from annoyingly blocking the automatic sleep or suspend because, well, sometimes you just want your computer to sleep and you don't want that stupid video playing somewhere, playing music that you left 3 virtual desktops away to prevent your laptop from actually saving some battery. Now let's move on to Discover and System Updates, because now you can decide not only to restart to install your updates, but you can also decide to just install the updates and shut down. You no longer have to restart specifically to install the updates. You can do that and shut down your computer if you prefer, which is going to give an extra option. Now this pop-up is pretty crowded, but at least you have options on what you want to do. Technically, Discover should also help users write better app reviews by just looking for some keywords. For example, if you just type, "it doesn't work, 1 star out of 5, it's gonna prompt you to write maybe why it doesn't work or to report an actual bug instead of writing a review on this part. But reviews in my testing just did not show up at all in Discover in Plasma 6.2, no matter which update I applied on KDE Neon. So couldn't test that out, and I can't show it to you either. Now what I can show you is how Discover handles licenses. Now it will give you more information about the various licenses you can find. So for example, this one is GPL. If you click on it, it's gonna open a web page with the text of the GPL. But if you go, for example, to this thing, you will see the license is called proprietary, and when you click on it, it's going to explain what that means and what that is. And so basically, every app that is not free software will not automatically be classified as proprietary. It will be a bit more detailed and a bit more nuanced, which, I mean, is fair. Just because you're open source but not free software, or you have a source available license, doesn't mean you're proprietary. So reflecting that nuance is probably a good idea, especially in the Linux and open source world where you have a lot of actually people. Now, in terms of settings changes, Plasma 6.2 gives you the option to decide if you prefer smooth scrolling or not. This won't affect every single application out there. It's generally only for Kirigami apps, so the ones that resize properly, like maybe the settings, maybe Discover, things like that. Not every single KDE or Qt app will follow this setting, but generally the only ones that had smooth scrolling were Kirigami apps. So you can now disable that if you don't want it, which I think some people will prefer having very like strict scrolling with very incremental steps. Now, Plasma 6.2 also gives you in the mouse settings the option to press the middle mouse button and to move the mouse to scroll around. So you can just press it and then move the mouse up or down to scroll on whatever is here. Now, the keyboard settings were also properly redesigned. You had that 3-tab layout previously. Now you only have this thing, which has the key bindings here, which you can have those keyboard options and change a few things here. You have the layout straight under the model and various options of your keyboard instead of having them separate over there. And you have a few more options here and there applied. I think this looks more dense, and I'm not sure I prefer this one to the previous one, to be honest. But yeah, at least the layouts look pretty good, and you can more easily drag them up and down instead of using like move up, move down buttons. But apart from that, yeah, that's just a few visual changes, but nothing in terms of options. And there are also a lot of changes for digital artists, with drawing tablet support being much improved. I do not own any of these, so I'm gonna have to show you what I could find in terms of screenshots and commit pages, because I can't show you the settings. They look like this for me, meaning, yeah, I don't have a graphics tablet, so it's not going to display anything. Now, these changes for digital artists include the ability to rebind the drawing tablet stylus buttons to different types of mouse clicks. So if you have a stylus with 2, 3, 4 buttons, you can say if each button is a single click, right click, left click, or middle click. You can also map the drawing tablet area to the screen area, so you can make sure that when you draw on the tablet, you're not drawing outside of your actual display area. You have a calibration wizard to make that all easier. And the color management protocol for Wayland has now been turned on in KWin, which doesn't mean HDR is fully baked in just yet, but it means that all the HDR work will actually be implemented in 6.2. You can also use the color profile built inside of your monitor. This was already an option in 6.1 as far as I remember, but maybe now it works better. And there are a few other little touches here and there to conclude on 6.2. First, you have that request for donation notification that a lot of people talked about. It appears once a year. You can disable it if you don't want it. It's in the application settings of the notifications, so you just go there and you can disable that if you really don't want to see it. If not, it's just going to be once a year, a little system notification that appears down here in the same style as all notifications. You also now have the ability to add a custom name for your custom keyboard shortcuts. If you create a new shortcut with a specific command that gets executed, you can now type the exact name of the shortcut you want, so it's easier to find in the general list of things. Something that was missing from the information center that you can get access through the About This System, more system information. This is what gives you info about your entire computer. You now have a memory page to look at how your RAM looks like, what kind of manufacturer it is, and stuff like that. Now, the Breeze cursor theme in KDE is also now using SVG cursors, which you can see here, because when it goes way bigger when I shake it, it's not all blurry and crappy, which is nice. It scales nicely, so the Breeze theme now does it, and other cursor themes can decide to use SVG cursors as well, just so they look decent like this one. And that's about it for KDE Plasma 6.2. As you can see, it is not a gigantic release full of tons and tons of new stuff. There are a few interesting things here. It keeps up the polish and refinement theme that Plasma releases had for a while now, but it won't revolutionize the way you use your computer, which is probably a good thing because Plasma is already complex enough as it is. It's not really lacking any specific features here and there. It just needs more polish, more bug fixing, and that's what you get in there. So depending on the distro you're running, you'll get that update sooner or later, but what doesn't depend on your distro is this message from our sponsor. You all know about them by now. I've been talking about them at the end of my videos for more than 2 years, which shows how dedicated I am to showcasing their products. They're really good. They're computers that ship with Linux out of the box. Laptops, desktops, you decide. They have a wide range of devices. You can configure most of the components inside. You can have your own custom keyboard layout, your own logo, laser etched on your laptop, and they will basically fit every price point and every need. And you know that their computers run Linux really well because that's the point of the entire thing. I only use their devices these days. My entire channel, my podcast, my videos, everything is run from one of their laptops, and all my gaming needs are served from one of their desktops. So if you need a new computer, you need to run Linux on it, and you want to support a company that actively contributes to Linux support for hardware, click the link in the description below and get yourself something from Tuxedo. They're really, really good. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. You have all the usual YouTube buttons underneath the video to let me know how you felt about it. And if you really enjoy the channel and what I do and you want to support my work, you can also do so. There are plenty of links in the description of the video, and you get tons of cool stuff from $1 a month. Do check the Patreon or the YouTube memberships out. It's pretty great value. So, thanks for watching, and I guess you'll hear me or see me in the next one, well, probably in 2 days for the Ubuntu 24.10 review. Bye!